Hello. There we go. Well, welcome to tonight's stream. My name is Protagonist or Jerry, and tonight we will be going through finishing off the editorial box on Hack the Box, which I'm very excited to finish off. It has been a couple of streams that I've been working on this machine. Obviously, last week I didn't stream, and that is because I was away at a friend's 30th birthday party, which was lots of fun, and it was a good, well-deserved break, but it is time to get back into a bit of hacking, and I'm a bit excited about it. Tonight it's probably going to be a shorter stream. I got some stuff going on. It's Easter weekend, Easter long weekend here in Australia, which means we've had the kids home for 4 days. It's exhausting, but it's been lots of fun. It's been a really good weekend. But yeah, let me know where you're streaming, where you're watching from, and we will start in a moment. Hello, Zerzex. Good afternoon. It is evening here. One of my kids is in bed. The other one is laying on his floor listening to an audiobook before he goes to bed, which is exciting for him. So thanks for tuning in. Now, if you want to follow along with where we're at, I'm currently working on this machine on Hack the Box. It is editorial. Let me just share my screen. Yep, so we've been doing editorial. We have done the user flag, and all we have left is the root flag, which has been good. This machine has been really cool. I'm probably going to make a standalone video just for the user, because I think it's got a really interesting SSRF vulnerability. So if you're wanting to practice SSRF vulnerabilities, doing like internal port scanning and that kind of stuff, this is a great machine to practice that kind of thing on. I've really enjoyed doing this one, so it's been really good. We may need to employ the help of guided mode for these last few steps. I've just been a bit rusty with this because I think I know what I need to do. I just don't know how to do it, which is, sometimes is the case when you're learning a new technique for privilege escalation and that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that this box kind of shows a different way, not your typical pseudo escalation vulnerability. So that's pretty fun. Now let me just get my virtual machine up. Okay, so we will connect to our VPN. So earlier this week I was attempting the nocturnal machine. So that's what this is. So so that's that. So we will look at our notes before I actually get started. All right, so once we got onto the server, we found a .git file, which had, so we found a .git file using git log-p. We found, let me just change that. We found the old commit with the prod credentials in it. And we found that because there was a note saying one of the commits said that they changed the dev to prod, prod to dev credentials. So OPSEC CIA says, I hate Sunday arvos, bruh. Yeah, Sunday afternoons are always exhausting. I find that with kids to be the case. I don't think it would be too bad if I didn't have kids, but they get really tired and kind of ratty at the end of the day. So we were able to log in with these credentials here into SSH, into production by SSH. So what we'll do is let me grab my machine IP. Okay, so we still got this here? No, so just going to add this back into my Etsy host file, and we'll go suit SSH prod editorial. And we'll copy this over. All right, so we have our user, and so then what we did is we found a script that prod could use with sudo. So to clone a remote repository, could probably be able to get RC with this, but as root. All right, so if we do sudo -l, so here we have obviously run as root using Python 3, internal apt clone prod changes .py star. I mean, what we could do is we could just overwrite this file. Let's just check the permissions. So prod can read and execute. So we can't override it. Simple file, it imports OS, import system from Git, import repo, changes the directory to the clone changes directory. URL to clone uses the first argument with sys.argv, and then it inits the repo, bear true, and then r.clone from. So we go URL clone, new changes, C protocol, ext.allow always. Alright, so I've never worked with the repo, like the Git library in Python, and that's where I was kind of stuck. So if anyone has any suggestions on what to do, like, I'm happy to hear them. Let me chat back in. All right. So let me just, I think it may be time, we'll probably need to do a little bit of research into this. So I'm going to copy this into Alright, so there we have our script. We might need to enlist the help of ChatGPT if I can't figure it out from some documentation. So what we'll do is we'll first get some documentation here. So alright, so we have a bare Git repository. Let's turn this on. And we'll make this better. Using git init and git init bare. Repositories created with the git init command are called working directories. In the top level folder of the repository, you will find two things: a Git subfolder with all the Git related revision history of your repo, a working tree, or checked out copies of your project files. Repos created with the git init bare are called bare repos. They are structured a bit differently from working directories. First off, they contain no working or checked out copy of your source files. And second, bare repos store git revision history of your repo in the root folder of your repository instead of the .git subfolder. Note, bare repositories are customly given a .git extension. Does that mean they're like what a GitHub repository would be? Because I'm pretty sure they don't have, I don't know. Working repository created is for working. It is where you will actually edit, add, and delete files and git commit to save your changes. If you are starting a project in a folder of your dev machine where you will add and edit and delete files of your project, use git init. If you git clone a repository, you will be given a working repository with the git folder. Bare repository created with git bare is for sharing. If you are collaborating with a team of developers and need a place to share changes to a repo, then you will want to create a bare repository in a centralized place where all users can push their changes. Often GitHub. Because Git is a distributed version control system, no one will directly edit files in the shared or centralized repository. Instead, developers will clone the shared bare repo, make changes locally in their working copies of the repo, then push back to that bare repo to make their changes available to other users. Because no one ever makes edits directly to files in the shared bare repo, a working tree is not needed. In fact, the working tree would just get in the way and cause conflicts as users push code to the repository. This is why bare repositories exist and have no working tree. So I use a working directory created by git init and git clone when I want to add, edit, and delete files in my project locally. When I am ready, I share this git push to a bare repository, my project.git, on a remote server like GitHub, which is what I kind of thought before. So other developers can access my local changes. Cool. Geez, this was written in 2011. All right, so the first thing that this is doing is it is initializing. We're initializing a bare repository called what? Nothing. Python git repo. Is this the right? All right. All right. So So we have bare repo here, repo init, and then the OS path there. I'm guessing that's the name of the repo. And then bare true, a repo object provides high level access to your data. It allows you to create and delete heads, tags, blah, blah, blah. Okay, do we have... I want the reference. What is this? Is it the API reference? Okay, cool. Repo. I just want init. Okay, here we go. Repo init. Where are we? Okay, initialize a Git repository at the given path, at the path given if specified. So, the parameter, oh, here we go, the class method. So we take the path first. The full path to the repo traditionally ends with .git or none, in which case will be created. Make the keyword arguments serving as that. Okay, so we're initializing, I'm guessing in the current directory, a bare thing. Okay, and so then we go clone from. Clone from. Create a clone from the given URL. URL valid Git URL or to path to which the repository should be cloned. Progress, environment. Alright, so let's make that a bit bigger. So we've got our URL to clone, which is our first argument. And then we go to path, I'm guessing is the next argument. Yep, to path. And then multi-options. What's multi-options? It's a list. Strings. See the clone method. Where are you? Clone from, clone. So multi-option list. Options that can be provided multiple times. One option per list item is passed exactly as specified. So that's this. What is the option again? Dang it. This is, I think I'm breaking it. All right, so let me just close Notion. It's being a pain. All right. All right, so multi-options. See, protocol, ext allow always. What is that? Protocol. Is there a LC? Where are you, C? No. No. Oh, here we go. C. Set a configuration variable in the newly created repository. This takes effect immediately after the repository is initialized, but before the remote history is fetched or any files checked out. The key is in the same format as expected. If multiple values are given for the same key, each value will be written to the config file. This makes it safe, for example, to add additional fetch ref specs to the origin remote. Some configuration variables don't take effect until the initial fetch and check out. Okay, so that's that. Protocol. No, we don't have. Okay, so will this be in here? I feel like we need to go deep into documentation. No. Wait a second. We have here stuff. Protocol. Oh, here we go. If set, provide a user-defined default policy for all protocols which don't explicitly have a policy. By default, if unset, known safe protocols have default policy of always. Known dangerous protocols, EXT, have default protocol policy of never. Okay, so they've clearly put that as always. Yeah, EXT allow always. What is that? Let's see if we can Google that. We are hacking the box, the machine that I put in the chat, editorial. So this machine. Sorry, I didn't see you there. I was concentrated. Yeah, so we're doing editorial. I'm on the final part of the box. We're just reading some documentation on the use of the Git library in this script here. You may not be able to see that too well. Jeez. Yeah, so this script here covers, like, I'm guessing is the way to escalate our privileges, and I'm just trying to understand this configuration, protocol.ext allow equals always. So once I've done that, Huh, interesting. Okay, so we can do ext command. This remote helper uses the specified command to connect to a remote server. Data written to std in of the specified command is assumed to be sent to a get server. Data read from the std out of the command is assumed to be received from the same server. Command and arguments are separated by an unescaped space. Okay, so we could potentially then just use do we just do like a sudo su? Okay, I get it. So this sneak thing, which I clicked on earlier, shows that we can use the ext. Okay. So if we just do this, but where does that leave our, let me make that a bit bigger. So I would need to clone that. So I would need to do that as let's copy that. It's just to think it through. So we want our URL to clone to be ext touch temp pwned, but we actually want that to be new underscore changes pwned. And then that will be that. And then that should work. Alright, so let's copy that. Alright, so what I'll do is I will, and this is from keep that there. Alright, so we want, so that means I don't really need a thing. Alright, so go sudo and then we need our password. Dang it. Sorry, that's tiny. I'm just having troubles with Notion being annoying. All right. All right, so if we go into /opt internal clone changes, Ah, okay, so we didn't provide anything to it. So am I allowed to? No. So if I added this and I did clone underscore changes, that doesn't work. But if I did let's try the temp thing first, because that might be it. We'll give it a go and then we'll see. Then we ls temp. So where are you, temp? Okay, so that worked. We did right. So that means we could do your typical netcat-nblp, and I will go to what is rel shell generator. I don't actually remember what my IP address is. 27. Can we just do sh? Yep. Copy. -c, no. All right, so where did it go wrong? Jean-Pierre, this is an easy box. Maybe we could give this let's give that a go. So And I need to literally change every single one of these to the opposite quote so it works. No. We could do, since we know we can write, we could do Seward bash priv esc set UID privilege. Where is it? Where we copy can we do that without trying to see, there's a way that you can escalate your privileges, and I don't remember how to do it exactly, by setting your set UID to what's it called, to the root user, so that you can then execute bin bash as the root user. I'll go away. No, that is not what I wanted. Cool, these are all great, but okay. How to change set UID bit Linux. Okay, so we can do that by alright, so we want to okay, that's what we're going to do. Chmod that. So let's don't need that anymore. Let's clear the screen. So what we'll do is we'll change this. C, and then we go chmod plus U S, and then we go bin bash. No, what we want to do is copy and bash to temp bash. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Back up to where we were. Is that because I did? Oh no, wait. Bash. Oh, that didn't work. All right. Give me a moment, I need to go put my son to bed and I will be back. All right, back. All right, so I'm confused. Do we just try doing the... Ah, of course. If you read error, the error output, it usually helps. Yep, so copy is missing a... do I need to add the %sign there? Alright, so... Cool, so we've got our bash. And then what we'll do is we will go chmod U plus S. Or do we just change it to that? plus s execute, where are you? Set user or group ID on execution S. Do I need to okay. Clears the set group ID bit of a regular file. Not much. You can set or clear the bits when symbolic modes like U plus S and... Oh, okay. So I had it right the first time, but what I didn't do was I didn't add my space here. Alright, so if we go ls temp, and then we got it. So temp bash -p ID. So we've got our effective user ID is root. Who am I? Root. And we've effectively escalated our privileges. ls a ls. There we go. So we've got our root text here. That was cool. I really, really enjoyed that, and I liked the problem solving to be able to get to that point. I think without that article on the Sneak website, I think I would have been lost without this. But that's really interesting. I like that. I mean, it was close in terms of what you could do with here, but I wasn't sure whether you... I didn't know from the documentation whether you could run just any kind of commands with this thing here, but clearly you can. And I don't know whether it's because it's the old Git version or what, like whether that's a patch thing. Where are we? Sneak. Does this I may have dropped there. I think I dropped there, but basically I've just sent through the chat the CVE with the remote code execution that we used in this machine, if you're interested. But basically we just pass a command here and then it runs it when we have this protocol extension ext allow always. And I think that's like extension for everything. But basically then I changed the set UID on bash to then run it as root, which is what -p does, is like you run it as the user in the set UID binary. So if we did ls-al temp, we'll see that bash itself has the set UID bit set, so we can then run it as root, which is how we've escalated our privileges. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that. I'm gonna get my flag, which is why I'm not sharing my screen, because I don't want to get in trouble. And cool thing, we didn't need to use a write-up. We didn't look at the walkthrough, like any kind of walkthrough or anything like that, which is great. I feel like for me, it's evidence of progression, of good progression. Now I'm like doing easy boxes without assistance to some degree, which is nice. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this box if you are wanting to do a little bit more on privilege escalation, helping with research. This is a really great box. And with the SSRF vulnerability at the start, I'll probably make a standalone video next stream on showcasing the start of it, because it's pretty cool. I like it. It's pretty good. Yeah. Before I head off, anyone got any questions, anything that they want me to kind of look at before I finish up? Because I'm wanting to wrap up early today. It was pretty cool hanging out. I really enjoyed this one. Well, if no one has got anything, I'm probably gonna say goodnight. And what was the tricky part for you in this box? Two points. I got stuck on the initial foothold. So you know what? I'll just start up the machine again. And then I can show you. So basically at the start I kind of was not sure what I was doing with regard to the SSRF vulnerability. And I knew what the vulnerability was, I just didn't know how to exploit it at the time. I kind of, this sounds weird, I kind of sniffed it out, kind of saw all the signs and was like, yep, this is going to be an SSRF, which is server-side request forgery, if you don't know. It's where you can cause the server to create a request on your behalf, whether for external or internal resources. So what I was able to do, what I got stuck on, was, let me get onto the page. So we have our editorial page here. You can publish with us, and then here we have two options. So we can send a URL related to our book, or we can browse for an image. It's pretty standard. You know, you can just upload an image, click preview, and it will put it in this little box here. But if you put a URL here, say let's do our machine address 14.27/ let's just do that. So if we do that and we click preview, we get a broken image here. But on the server side, we actually get a request for our machine. So we've basically coerced the server into doing this. So what I didn't know what to do was going from this to actually getting something useful, which I, like, between the first stream where I figured this out and then the next stream, which was a week later, I spent a lot of time thinking about this vulnerability. It actually kept me up one night because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to figure it out on my own, and I really wanted to. But then I checked my notes and I remembered that you could do an internal port scan using this kind of feature. So then what I did was, and you'll see here, we did a local host 5000, which was an internal web server. I figured out by doing like a brute force attack on every port between like a 0 and 9,000 or something like that, or 10,000. This one responded out of all of those, which meant that there was something here. So then when it responded, it gave me a bunch of where is it? If I can find it. It gave me a bunch of like API endpoints that I could hit. And so from then I was able to like move on from there. But that basically gave you initial access. That was like my first bit that I got stuck. And then the second bit was what I just went through, which was you had to privilege escalate using like with sudo, but it was based on a script. And so then you had to do some research on how the script works and all of that, which for me was kind of new. Like usually, you can go to GTFO bins and you can kind of abuse it from there. But it was really cool to see it a bit differently and to see like what how you could misconfigure things from a scripting perspective. Need a Kaido tutorial from the very basics. Yeah, possibly. I mean, there's not that much difference between this and Burp Suite. But I'll have a look at what's out there, and maybe I might create a crash course on Kaido. Maybe we can do it live. I might be able to run through a live crash course on Kaido. Because it's awesome. I like it. It's free. And like I don't use it to its full potential, but there's lots there that you can do with it. So yeah, I'm open to doing that. That'd be cool. All right. Well, if there isn't anything else, I'm probably going to call it there. Let me know. This is kind of like the final call. The final countdown. Before I finish up. Didn't need to do a reverse shell. So this box you only need to do because you get credentials for SSH. So don't need to do a reverse shell. You could just do that, and then you had to pivot from one user to the next. Look, if people are interested, I'm happy to do a full walkthrough of this machine next week. I'm happy to do that as part of the stream, and then and that will be a walkthrough from like we know how to solve the box, and I can kind of explain as I go along, that kind of thing. So just let me know. Yeah. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. It's really helps me put my stuff out there and get me known, and help other people in their hacking journey. Also, if you want to be a part of a really cool group of security people, there is a Discord that I'm a part of, that I'm a moderator on. I've been part of them for a really long time. They are the Hack Smarter Discord. Super awesome group of people. Probably know Tyler Ramsby. He is another content creator. He's been doing it for much longer than me. He's a pen tester, And yeah, so he started this with a friend. It's kind of evolved over the years, and so now we're doing that. So I'm gonna send through, where's the link? So if you want to be part of a really cool Discord, join the Hack Smarter Discord. I'm in there like most days chatting to people. At the moment I'm going through like Hack the Box Academy, so I'll usually be in those channels on Hack the Box Academy, but we basically have channels for certification study, for home labs, for CVE, researchers and bug bounty. Man, we cover a bunch of different topics within the security space, mainly geared towards offensive security, but we do have a lot of blue teamers and defensive people in there. So yeah, join us there. That's the best place to reach me and to reach other really cool hackers and security people. So anyways, it's really great to hang out again. Thanks for joining me, and I will catch you next week, Saturday, 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, if nothing comes up. But yeah, I'll see you then. It was good hanging out.